The room went dead silent the moment Jenna cut him off, right as Mark finally gathered the courage to speak. "We don't need your version again," she snapped, loud enough for everyone to hear, and the whole office froze like someone had hit pause on reality. Mark just stood there, notes shaking slightly in his hands, the kind of shake that isn't weakness but years of swallowing things he never said out loud. You could see something flickering behind his eyes. Hurt, yes, but also this quiet, stubborn spark that rises in a person only when they've been ignored for far too long. What people didn't know was that Mark had always been the soft, spoken guy who never complained. The guy who fixed everyone's tech issues and brought donuts just to make people smile. The guy who went home to a quiet apartment and a dog who greeted him like he was the best part of the day. Growing up with a single mom who worked herself to exhaustion taught him to stay small, stay grateful, stay silent even when he was hurting. And this office wasn't exactly the kind of place that noticed quiet people. It was fast, loud, competitive, full of the type of personalities who talk over each other to prove they belong. And Jenna, she was the undisputed queen of that world. Sharp, polished, confident in a way that made people scared to disagree. She didn't just dominate conversations, she erased anyone who didn't fit her version of important. So when Mark raised concerns about a project she controlled, she didn't argue the facts. She went straight for his voice. "Set down, Mark." "Seriously," she said with a smirk, and a few people gave these awkward, guilty laughs. The kind of laughs people use when they're too scared to stand beside the right person. And then she said it. The line that cracked something deep inside him. "You're misremembering again." His jaw tightened. His eyes dropped for a second, and you could tell she'd hit an old bruise. But instead of backing down, he set his notes on the table and said softly, "I'm not misremembering. You just never cared enough to listen." And that's right when the door opened and the regional manager walked in. Mr. Thompson, calm but commanding, the kind of leader who doesn't need to raise his voice to shift a room. He took one look around and said, "I think we all need to hear what he has to say," and suddenly the entire power dynamic flipped on its head. Mark took a breath, slow, shaky, like he'd been underwater too long, and started talking. Not angrily, not dramatically, just honestly. He shared how last year, while his mom was in the hospital, he kept working through the night, sitting in plastic chairs, coding updates at her bedside while asking for time off that never came. He talked about how every request was dismissed, how he was told the team needed him more than his mother did, how Jenna minimized everything he said until he started questioning his own memory. People's faces began to change, some ashamed, some angry, some surprised they never noticed. When he talked about missing his mom's last good day because he was stuck on a mandatory call she later bragged about leading, a pen literally rolled off someone's desk because the room was that silent. Jenna tried to cut in. "That's not how it happened, Mark." But no one believed her anymore. Mr. Thompson opened a folder filled with emails Mark had forwarded months earlier, the ones she claimed she never received, the ones that proved he wasn't misremembering anything. The truth was right there in black and white. After that, everything shifted. People approached him, apologized, admitted they should have spoken up sooner. Mark didn't glow in the attention, he just gave a tired smile and said, "I just didn't want to feel invisible anymore." And maybe that's why his story hit everyone so hard. Because almost everyone has felt unheard at some point, like speaking up would only make things worse. By the end of the week, Jenna was removed from her position and Mark, quiet, overlooked Mark, was promoted. The office softened. People listened more. They made space. And every so often, when conversations got tense, you'd hear him say something gentle but grounding, like a reminder he earned the hard way. Silence isn't peace. Speaking up is. And for the first time, his voice finally mattered.